Good morrow, friends. You're watching One Take Shakespeare. I'm your host, Penny, and I'm going to break it down for you in one continuous take. Oh, yeah, I found this on the beach last week, and now I can't get it off my finger. Oh well, I'm sure it's not an ancient artifact imbued with ancient sorcery, or anything like that. Anyway, today I want to talk about one of my favorite plays of all time, Twelfth Night. Now, I'll admit I kind of have a soft spot for this particular play because it was the first play I ever saw performed, and it was that production that got me hooked on Shakespeare. So before I get too nostalgic over here, let's get into it. Twelfth Night was written most likely in 1601, maybe in 1600. The first recorded performance was on February 2nd of 1602, so, definitely before that. It's fortunate that we have that record by a lawyer, actually, named John Manningham, who just happened to write down that he saw it, because Twelfth Night is another play that wasn't published until the first folio in 1623. The title is a reference to the festival of Twelfth Night held on the last day of Christmas. That's January 5th or 6th, depending on how you count it. During this festival, a Lord of Misrule was chosen via a bean baked into a cake. This tradition you can still see today in, for example, Mardi Gras. The Lord of Misrule did, well, exactly what it sounds like he did, and for one night, everything was completely turned on its head. Fun times. The plot of Twelfth Night most closely resembles an Italian play called, hang on a second, Gli Ingannatori, or The Cheats, for those of us who don't speak Italian. Actually, our man Manningham mentioned this play in comparison with Twelfth Night. Useful. He also compared Twelfth Night to Shakespeare's earlier play, The Comedy of Errors, but really the only similarity I see there is that there are hijinks with twins. I wish I had a twin. Cool stuff always happens in stories with twins. Oh, yeah, the story. Okay, so there are three subplots that sort of wind all around each other in Twelfth Night. The first involves Viola, our cross-dressing heroine, and the weird love triangle she gets involved with between the Duke, Orsino, and the Countess, Olivia. The second follows various and sundry members of Olivia's household as they wreak their hilarious revenge on her buzzkill steward Malvolio. And the third follows Viola's twin brother Sebastian and his friend, who may or may not be a pirate. Okay, so let's try to sort these out, one plot line at a time. We'll start with Viola, because I like her. We meet her at the beginning of the play, having just been shipwrecked off the coast of a fictional land called Illyria. Shakespeare uses shipwrecks as plot devices kind of a lot, probably because they're a pretty quick and convenient way to put the characters right in the middle of the action. Okay, Viola can't figure out whether or not her brother went down with the ship, so she figures in the meantime she'd better shift for herself for a bit. In her case, this involves disguising herself as a boy and joining the court of Duke Orsino. Now, Orsino is in love with Olivia, the countess in the next county over, but he is getting absolutely nowhere with her, so he decides to send his new favorite servant, Cesario, to plead his case for him. Now, in the meantime, Viola has fallen in love with Orsino, but in her current situation, she's not really in a position to do anything about that. So off she goes to woo Olivia in Orsino's name. And of course, as you do, Olivia falls madly in love with Cesario. Awkward. Okay, let's leave them there for a second and meet the members of Olivia's entourage. First, we have Malvolio, the steward, who's sort of in charge of running the day-to-day business of the house, kind of a butler guy. He is a complete party pooper with a stick up his anatomy. Even his name sounds like no fun. Malvolio. Bad will. Ugh. Okay, ranged against him, we have Olivia's uncle, Sir Toby Belch, speaking of appropriate character names, who likes to drink and party and drink. His BFF is Sir Andrew Aguecheek, another knight, nominally there to court Olivia, pretty much a rich idiot. Then we have Festy, the jester, pretty smart dude, his name means party, and Maria, Olivia's waiting woman, who pretends to disapprove of the guy's shenanigans, but really, by the halfway point, she's totally in on them. Okay, these four get royally pissed off at Malvolio because he interrupts one of their late-night parties, and it's Maria who devises the revenge plan. She forges a love note that looks like it comes from Olivia, and they drop it where Malvolio is sure to find it. This note contains instructions for Malvolio to do various ridiculous things, like wear yellow tights. I mean, I would totally wear yellow tights, but I can see how that might not fly for a straight-laced Elizabethan type. Anyway, Malvolio, of course, does all of these ridiculous things in front of Olivia, which gets him locked up as a madman, and affords Sir Toby and company the chance to mess with him a little more. Right. Excuse me. The third and subbiest of the subplots, follows Sebastian and his new friend, Antonio. Yeah, it's another pair of Sebastian and Antonio, go figure. There's actually a third Antonio in The Merchant of Venice, also, who hangs out with a dude named Bassanio, which is sort of like Sebastian in an Italian way. I don't know. Anyway, Antonio saved Sebastian from that shipwreck back in the first act, and they've been hanging out ever since. But now, Sebastian wants to hit the town and see the sights a little bit. Antonio says he can't go with him because he has a lot of enemies in Orsino's court, but he likes Sebastian so much that he changes his mind, and off he goes to follow him.